You have a small business and you want to know how to get it off the ground without raising investor capital. Let's talk about it. By the way, I'm KJ Miller. I am a founder, lecturer, and content creator. I love talking about all things business and pop culture. If you like any of that, be sure to subscribe. Now, let's get into it. So as usual, I am joining you guys coming straight off of my most recent TikTok live. I like to use my TikTok lives to let people ask me whatever questions that come to mind. And today, a lot of the questions were about business. And in particular, I got a question about how to launch a business if you are not raising investor funding. And I have to tell you, I was so appreciative that I got this question because one, I do have thoughts, surprise, surprise. And two, I think right now is definitely the right time to think about launching a company without investor capital. And I'll tell you why, particularly if it is a consumer product company. And this woman, she was launching a consumer product company. It is a really hard time to raise if you're launching a consumer brand. A lot of investors got burned in the last, call it decade, by investing in consumer brands that scaled but never got to profitability and really never saw a return. I mean, think about companies like Casper, think about companies like Rent the Runway, even companies like Allbirds having trouble getting to profitability. Even though they've scaled, you have companies like Harry's that failed to exit when they were supposed to do an acquisition. So investors have gotten a little nervous, right? So it's a tough time to raise money if you're launching a consumer product company. And even if you're not in the CPG space, it still is a tough time to raise. Companies are raising, but at much lower valuations. It's taking much longer to get deals done, even if you're not in the CPG space, okay? So it's a good time to think about how you're going to get your business to pop off without taking investor capital. And I'll tell you this. My number one piece of advice for how I would get your business to pop off right now is TikTok. So first of all, let's talk about TikTok. TikTok is a platform where you can go viral with no followers. It happens every day. I cannot tell you the number of times I have clicked on a video that had 1 million likes, 2 million likes, only to find that person had 300 followers. 3,000 followers. It is just a platform. They have built the algorithm, in my opinion, in a much smarter way than so many of these other social media platforms, where it is just all about what is going to hook you, what is going to interest you, not how big is the person who put the video up, not how many followers do they already have, simply is this content that is going to hook you and interest you. And if it is, it will get shown to a massive number of people, regardless of whether you have a big account or not. Something like that is something that you should be taking advantage of if you are starting a business. So now you're probably thinking, okay, great, KJ, I'll start a TikTok, but how do I actually get this to grow my business? All right, I'm going to break it down for you in 5 steps, okay? Step 1 is to create both a brand account and a personal account. And you're going to post to both of these accounts consistently. Now, why do you need to create both? I'll tell you why. Because historically speaking, the TikTok algorithm is much kinder to individuals than it is to businesses. Are there some businesses that have huge accounts even bigger than their founders? Yes. But more often than not, you will find that the founder of a business has a much bigger account than the business itself. That's true for me. I have 250,000 followers on TikTok. Minted hasn't even cracked 5,000. Okay. Bobby Brown has, I forget how many, but I think it's something like 1 million followers over on TikTok. Her makeup brand, Jones Road, not even half that. All right. So the algorithm prefers to favor individuals. So you're going to create an account for your brand, whatever it is. Maybe it's Markers Galore. Okay. You're going to create a Markers Galore TikTok, but then you, Steven, are also going to create Stephen A. James as your account. Okay. And you're going to post about your brand on both. That is step 1. And you need to be posting daily on both. I know that sounds like a lot of content, particularly because it's my advice to you to post different content on both. Don't just post the same video on both places. My advice is to post different content. I know that sounds like a lot, but I'm telling you, it's going to be important. It's important to have your personal account because, like I said, the algorithm is most likely going to favor your personal account. But it's important to have the business account because if someone sees your video and says, oh, I like those markers that Steve is selling, let me dig into it a little bit more, they're going to want to click over to the brand page and see, is this a legit business with a brand page, that I can then learn more about. So eventually it is going to be very important that you have both of those pages. However, to start, you're probably going to see much more traction on your personal page. So that is step one, create both a personal TikTok account and a brand TikTok account and post to both of them every single day. Step two, test what type of content works best and gets the most views. One mistake that I see people make a lot, brands make a lot, even sometimes creators make a lot, is that they are not willing to break outside of whatever the little mold is for content creation that they have set for themselves. Maybe one day they filmed a video standing in front of their window and, just from the neck up and did kind of a talking head style video, which by the way, a lot of my videos are. And they never, ever, ever want to deviate from that mode. Now, listen, if the first time you do it, you get 1 million views and you keep seeing a lot of great engagement, then great. Your test, essentially, your hypothesis that would be the thing that works for you got proved out on try number 1. So then I can understand continuing to do it and do it and do it. But what I do not understand and what I do not advise is picking one way to film a video and then just continuing to do it and hoping that at some point it pops off. Could it pop off at some point? Absolutely. But it's going to be much easier for you to understand what works if you try different things. Okay. So maybe your first video is just a talking head. You're just sitting there talking about the markers, just like this. Guys, look at this marker. Look how it writes. Look how the lid comes off and comes on. It's so amazing. It writes so smooth. Maybe that's video number 1. Maybe video number 2 is the camera isn't even on you. The camera is just on your hand while you're writing with the marker and just showing how smooth it is. And maybe the background to that video is actually a trending sound where someone's talking about writing a love letter. I don't know. Maybe the third video is you dancing to whatever one of the pop viral songs is at the moment. And while you're dancing, you've got your pencil in hand. There are so many different things you can do on TikTok. It really is up to you. But the point is you want to test. Do they like when I do a talking head? Do they like when I give a different point of view when my face isn't in the video? Do they like when I do videos with trending sounds? Do they like when I do videos with music? What is getting people to actually view my videos? The more you have in your arsenal, the more data points you have, the better equipped you're going to be when you start to think about actually building out a content calendar, which is something that I recommend you do when you're thinking about it from a branding perspective, plotting out, okay, on Monday, I'm going to do this. On Tuesday, I'm going to do this. On Wednesday, so that you're doing some planning ahead of time, but you're never going to really know even what you might want to put in the calendar if you aren't testing different types and styles of videos. Okay, so that is tip number 2. Don't just pick a thing and run with that. Test different types of videos. Step number 3 is you are going to want to go live every single week. Now, I will not say you need to go live on both of your channels every single week. This is actually something I think you can do just on your brand channel. If you have the bandwidth to do it on both channels, that is going to help for sure. But if you don't, I would say on your brand's channel, go live every single week. Why? Because right now, and probably for a long time, TikTok will be pushing lives. TikTok is trying to keep people glued to the screen. And so something that is happening live, a lot of times that has an element of excitement because this is your only chance that you're going to see it. The live video is going away, right? Particularly on TikTok, where not many people then save and put the lives back up the way sometimes they do on YouTube. This is the only time to engage. And so TikTok, when you go live, it pushes an announcement out to lots of people and puts your live in front of a lot of people to see who you can grab and who you're going to keep. It's an easy, free way to get some free eyeballs because the algorithm is pushing lives, all right? And then when you're on your live, You want to talk about your product. Of course, you want to show off your product. You want to show off what it does, but make sure that you are engaging with what people are saying. If they're asking questions, that's the best, because then you can be answering questions, particularly if they're asking questions about your product. But even if they're not asking questions about your product, even if they're just saying hi, or they're saying, oh, your background looks weird, or wait, what is it you do? Or even if they're being rude, y'all, engage, because that hooks people. When people see that someone is actually engaging with the comments, reading what's being said, answering questions, engaging, that hooks people. Okay. So do your live every single week. Yes. Use the live to talk about whatever your product is, but also make sure you're engaging with the comments and the questions, whatever they are, and encourage comments. You can say throughout the live, I'm here to answer any questions you guys might have about this, because this product has changed my life, has changed so many other people's lives. And I want to make sure you know how to use it, you know where you can find it. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Or if you have any questions about me, I'm a first-time founder. I'm from Ohio. People want to engage, because that's something you can't typically do if you're just watching a TikTok video. I can't engage with the person while it's happening, but I can when they're live. Okay. So you want to very much encourage that. That also keeps people on your live longer. And the longer you're able to keep people engrossed in your live, the more TikTok has an incentive to push your lives out to people the next time you hop on. Step 4, set up your TikTok shop. Okay. Do this as soon as possible. This, again, you're going to do on your brand page, because that's the business page, not on your individual page. Set up your TikTok shop as soon as possible, because one, it's free. Now, you do have to have business documentation to do that. So if you're just getting started and you haven't formed your corporation or your LLC, you don't have your tax documentation, the legal documents, you're not going to be able to get set up on TikTok Shop, okay? Because it does ask for a lot of information. But assuming you've done all that and you're a legitimate business, or even if you haven't done it yet, you can do it very quickly. I actually use, I'm not going to give you a link. You can just go, but bizee.com, bizee.com. That's who I use to set up my media company. You can do it very quickly. Okay. You can do it in a day. So then you get all the documentation that you need so that you can get set up on TikTok Shop. The reason why you want to get set up on TikTok Shop, 1, is it's easy. 2, it's free. 3, when you're on your live, you can link your shop so people can actually be shopping your live. Okay. So it's just kind of a nice callback and easy way, since the live is going to get pushed out anyway. Being able to bring in those dollars while you're on your live, that's what you want to do. The other great thing about TikTok Shop is then you can start searching for partners and influencers through the shop and allowing them to make videos about your brand and your product so that they can earn a commission. That's an easy way to get affiliates, to get people out there talking about your product, as long as you can send it to them. Actually, you don't even have to send someone your product in order for them to link to it. But most of the time, that's what they're going to want. They're going to want you to send it for free so they can try it, and then they can talk about it and get paid if they make any sales. You can do that, but only if you have a TikTok shop. Okay, and then step 5, and this applies to everything, is to be consistent. The number one mistake I see founders make, particularly when it comes to posting on social media, is that they are not consistent. They get burned out. They do it for 3 weeks, maybe even 6 weeks of posting every day. And because they haven't had a viral moment yet, because maybe by that point they've only made a couple $100s in sales, they think, I'm out. It's not working. I'm not going to do it. And then they fall back to maybe posting once, twice a week. I can tell you right now, the TikTok algorithm does not like anybody who posts once or twice a week. Okay. The TikTok algorithm likes people who post every single day. That's just a fact. And the algorithm is going to get mad at you and is going to punish you if you try and take time off. So you have to stay consistent. I know it's not easy, particularly when you're seeing it looks like everyone else is going viral and not me, but I can tell you, as someone who has built my platform on TikTok by posting every single day, by testing what content is going to work, and who is now able to use my individual platform to also talk about my brand, to also talk about Minted Cosmetics. As someone who's been able to do that, I can tell you it does work, but you do have to stay consistent. All right, those are the 5 steps and exactly what I would do right now if I were building a business without raising any outside capital. I hope it's helpful. If you love content like this, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.